Facebook has been funding the opposition to a ballot initiative called the California Privacy Act. That is until today, when we once again asked the company why.
I can't be clearer on this topic. We don't sell data. That's not how advertising works.
Then why has Facebook been fighting the California Consumer Privacy Act? The ballot initiative would give Californians the right to know what's being collected about them, the right to tell companies not to sell it, and would hold companies more responsible for keeping it safe. All things Facebook says they already do. But along with AT&T, Google, Verizon, and Comcast, Facebook has been funding the fight against the ballot initiative.
It's called the World Wide Web for a reason and not the California Wide Web.
Steve Maviglio is a spokesperson for the No campaign. He says the initiative would put Californians at a disadvantage.
Google and Facebook, though, wouldn't create one policy for California and one for the rest of the nation. Wouldn't this just then force them to create the same policy nationwide?
No, not necessarily. We haven't seen that with a lot of different businesses. We haven't seen that, for example, with our greenhouse gas emissions.
The opposition argues the Privacy Act would put undue burden on small businesses and open up companies to frivolous lawsuits. But the folks behind it say it only applies to companies that make over $50 million a year, or data brokers who sell over 100,000 personal records or make half their revenue off selling your data.
People don't like it, but they put up with it because there's nothing really you can do. I mean, when was the last time, if you click no on the privacy terms, you don't get the service?
Alistair McTaggart says the Privacy Act would put an end to that, but the No campaign calls the Privacy Act hypocritical.
The proponents of this are actually doing it themselves to increase their supporters and target voters.
They sent us this screenshot, which they say shows numerous third-party sites collecting data from users on the Privacy Act's webpage. The Privacy Act tells us that's because, like on most websites, they have things like a Facebook like button and Google Analytics, which allows those companies to track you. And that's the point.
This would be the first time any state or the federal government even tried to regulate the internet, a technology which is changing by the day.
He notes, unlike a bill, this is a ballot measure. Once passed, it can't be amended. But the Privacy Act says they've added a clause allowing the state attorney general to amend it as needed.
Give people the power, if they want, to find out what these companies are collecting and say, no, don't sell it.
Now, we've reached out to Facebook several times over the past couple of weeks, and this afternoon the company responded telling us it has now decided to pull out of the committee to oppose the bill, stating, quote, "We took this step in order to focus our efforts on supporting reasonable privacy measures in California." The other companies did not respond. And to clarify, ballot measures can be amended, but not by lawmakers, only by another ballot measure.
And all of this started as a way to communicate with each other.
Yes, and we are sharing a lot of that communication with a lot of people.
Way back when. Yeah, we are. All right, Julie, thank you.